ask the Professor S.S. Sharma ji, please start the program.
Yes, sir.
Attitude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A very warm good morning to one and all present here. Eminent Speaker and Honorable Chairman BOG, Professor N.C. Sriprakash sir, our Principal sir, Registrar sir, TechCube Coordinator, HODs, my colleague Saurabh Maheshwari, faculty members, staff, and my dear students. On the behalf of organizing committee, I, Dr. Shyam Sundar Sharma, coordinator of program, welcome you all. The topic of today's webinar is challenges in good learning and assessment post-COVID. Now we are passing through a very tough and unpredictable phase of life. COVID has changed substantially the way we live. In live with COVID era, many alternatives may be forced to develop or substitute the old style of the functioning of man-machine and knowledge delivery. And same is applicable for field of education also. Digital impact projects have been supporting education in a big way. Every challenges opens up a new opportunity. Higher education has many possibilities and challenges during the keep social distancing period. And this webinar will reflect all the challenges in good learning and assessment in post-COVID era. Once again, I extend a heartily welcome to Speaker Sir and all the participants to make this event as a grand success. Now I invite Principal Sir and Honorable Chairman BOG Sriprakash Sir for welcome and light lamping function.
Yeah, Dr. Jitendra.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, now I think our laptop is working.
Yes.
Initial, always happens. So, e-lamping,
Yes, sir.
everything is e-governance, e-teaching, e-examination,
Yes,
everything e. Yeah. Go ahead, Dr. Jitendra. Yeah. May God bless all of you. Good. Thank you for this wonderful slide. Who has done this? My hearty congratulations to.
Yes, sir. He is continuing, sir. Still he is continuing.
Oh.
Now I welcome from the GWECA family, Professor N.C. Sriprakash sir, Professor Department of Instrumentation Applied Science, ISC Bangalore, and our respected BOG Chairman sir. Today we are having the very opportunity that you are delivering the talk that what we have to do after COVID, how we can learn, and what are the challenges, and due to overcoming these challenges, how we are able to improve our learning. We have learned many things apart from the research and academic activities. Under your able guidance, the college is doing progress. And one thing I want to elaborate here, that sir is frequently call me regarding is there any problem is there, tell me the problem, is there any faculty grievance is there, and the continuous feedback. I think every 15 days he calling and taking the feedback about the college progress, or is there any grievances existing from the student side or the faculty side or staff side. He is continuously monitoring the college progress in each aspects. Thank you, sir, for doing all such things, and we are getting motivated by these things. And even every BOG meeting, sir is actively participating. Either from nowadays the online meeting is going on, and past two meetings, sir is actively participating, and especially the various faculty and staff related benefits. So it's very kind to us, sir, that some of these colleges, you are looking a keen interest in the benefit of the faculty. Some issues are there, sir, from government or administrative point of view. We are trying to solve these issues. But for today, we welcome you, sir, from the complete GWACA family, from the side of the GWACA family on this talk, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
Sir Sharma.
Is my voice audible?
Yes, sir. Audible.
Very good. Okay. Okay. Shall we start, Professor Jitendra?
So,
Sharma ji, is there any? Yeah.
Your protocols are over.
yeah.
Continue, please, Sharma ji, continue. Then invite her for the talk. Yes.
So, Professor N.C. Srinivasan, sir. Presently, he is the professor in Department of Instrumentation and Applied.
No, it is not required. Don't worry. Don't worry. You just share that email. No. Let us gain that time.
Then I request the principal, sir, please call to sir the present.
Sir, before sir going to present, all are requested, please mute your mic so that the no interference will be there. And after the talk, you are all invited one by one for the any question during the talk. And after the talk is end, a formal conversation, a faculty conversation will be there on with the sir. At that time, a student will be out from this Google Meet and the Facebook session, because this complete session is available on our YouTube channel and the Facebook also. Okay, so now I request N.C. Prakash sir, please sir, enlightening us. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Jitendra, Professor Saurav, Raki, HODs, faculty, students, and staff. So wonderful. Good morning to all of you. And I'm very far away, but I'm very, very close to you, close to your heart. When I say heart, my mind is in Bangalore and my heart is there in Ajmer. So I had many visits there. Dr. Maheshwari time also, I visited one of the very nice program, cultural valedictory program. Still I remember so much of enthusiasm, the talent. Normally we see the cultural program, the talent of the students, but for a change, I saw that day many faculties are also contributed. Faculties are all much more younger in their activities than the. So that is the kind of a vibrant faculty, and students are fine, good. So I'm very happy. One of the unique institutions in Rajasthan is Government Women's Engineering College. I'm sure that we will do great things in years to come with all your support. We have been doing. I'm sure that we can benchmark ourselves much higher. So I must thank at the outset Dr. Jitendra for giving me this opportunity to talk to you. I thought it is more appropriate to talk today, COVID. COVID is sometimes you can say opportunity, sometimes it is. Now I think we all got used to COVID. We are living with COVID. We know how to live with the COVID. COVID is scared of us. In another 3-4 weeks, everything will go away. A new normal has been set up, and let's move on. And I'm sure that I think all of you would. I think we all got used to this kind of platforms. So thanks to the Google Meet, we are able to. There are 60 plus faculties are hearing me. Itself shows is a great thing. Dr. Saurav, can you go to the first slide, please? Can you hear me, Dr. Saurav?
Saurav?
Yes,
yeah, you have to keep responding since I cannot share. Please, whenever I call to change the slide, you please go to my presentation. Yeah, go to the next one. So, we are all teachers. Next one, please. So the.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Your slide is live now.
I know Bangalore is far away. It takes about few seconds to get on my screen. No, the next slide. This is the title one. Can you please go to the next one? Yeah. So, as a teacher, there are many roles that all of you have to play. Of course, apart from teaching, little bit of research is, is a component which I'm sure that all of you are already inculcated and doing. Mentoring is a very, very important component. And in this COVID, I'm sure that each one of you have to mentor your student. They are in a very, very difficult situation. They don't have notebooks. They don't have anything with them. Keep talking to them and motivate. And as a teacher, you're all reformers, and integrity and ethics is extremely important. And these stories I'll keep it at the end, if time permitting. And as a teacher, you are teachers are always should be friend to your students, and your philosopher and guide. Next one, and also this doesn't end here. As a teacher, next slide, please, Saurabh. The next. Yeah, as a teacher, teacher should have three qualities, which I have been keep telling. One is humor, humility, and humanism. Now, Gandhi himself said once, but for my humor, I would have got suicide long ago. So therefore, all of us, should not be very serious-minded people. We should have humor while teaching, while talking to students, while working, and humility. Humility is something, the story of the Lipig. He wanted to invent the iodine. He tried, but somebody else has invented. He gave all the credit to him. That means, we should have a culture of giving credit to the others. Others could be teachers, our colleagues, or other junior faculty, or to the student. And humanism is important. Whatever the little that we can do, I think we should be able to pass it on to the younger generation. And as an individual, we should have benchmark. As a department, computer science, be it electronics or mechanical, civil, we should have some. That is the way we move forward today. And all institutes should have vision, which all of you, I'm sure that you know about it. So the one little story I will tell and start my talk. One is think differently. Especially not because of COVID, even otherwise, all of us should think differently. I told you this story when I was there. I know our memories are very short. Still, I will remember. This story is about chicken. Five greatest scientists: Aristotle, Newton, then Einstein, Heisenberg, and the Pauli. This is a virtual world where we are living. So you think that they're all. Dr. Jitendra has invited all these five to your institution and for a e-conference, virtual conference. Today we have to have virtual conference, virtual meeting, virtual teaching, virtual exam. Everything is virtual. So these five people, they saw a chicken crossing the road in Ajmer. Then the journalist in the Ajmer caught these scientists and asked, why chicken is crossing the road? Aristotle said, that is the nature of the chicken. That's the nature. His research is all about nature. Then therefore the answer obviously is like. Then came the turn of Newton. Newton said, if chicken is at rest, it will be at rest. If chicken is moving with velocity v, then he said F equal to ma, acceleration and all that. So the nice thing about this story is the question is same, but answers are different. And now comes the turn of Einstein. Einstein said, no, I don't know whether chicken crossed the road or road crossed beneath the chicken, depends on relativity, that is the fixed frame, moving frame. Then Heisenberg, as all of you know, is a great quantum physicist. He said chicken was moving with a very, very high velocity I could not measure accurately. Uncertainty principle, no two parameters can be measured accurately. Lastly, Pauli said, no, chicken has not crossed the road. There is already a chicken. Why he says so? According to the mutual exclusion principle of Pauli, no two electrons can occupy the same energy state. No two chicken can be on the same side of the road. So this is the beauty. I think all of us should now think differently in this COVID situation to get over and tide over. Okay. So we'll go to the next one, please. We'll start because we have already. Okay, my presentation, is as follows. I talk little 5 minutes about science, engineering, and technology, about COVID, about education, about industry, good learning, virtual lab, and some technology at the end, 5-10 minutes how do we make use of it in this crisis. Next one. So, general thinking is there are three groups of people who can bring things together. Without science, there is no engineering. Without science and engineering, there is no technology. The best example is the car will not come onto the road without understanding the braking system, air conditioning, and so on. And engineers go to the drawing board, and finally technologists will bring the car onto the road. So these are best example of collaboration, multidisciplinary, interdisciplinary, across. So general statement that everybody says is scientists, will not read, and engineers won't write. But I'm sure that teachers have to read and have to write. Without that, we cannot become good teachers. So a teacher is always have to read and have to write. Yeah. Next one, please. I'm going to share this slide. All this slide, Dr. Saurabh, you give it to all my friends. Okay. So this is a new nomenclature for COVID. COVID is C for create, O for opportunity, V for victory, I for in, D for disaster. So in this COVID era, we have to create opportunity for good teaching, good research, good virtual lab, good examination, good question paper setting, and good outcome-based education. And earlier we used to use our year BC versus AC. What is BC? Before Christ. Now what is AC? After Christ. But that has changed now. Today, before Corona and after Corona. So the things will change after Corona. Everything in our life you must have done at home. You go there, go wash your hand, and then do everything. Earlier, we never cared for that. So even our lifestyle has changed. Everyone is cautious. I think we have set a new normal. Next one. Saurabh, you should keep in touch with me and then you talk to me whenever I ask. Okay, as all of you know, education, like COVID, COVID lockdown also had 4 stages. Lockdown 1.0, 2.0, 3.0, 4.0. So like that, education also has gone 4 different phases as in today. Education 4.0 is nothing but lecturing and memorization. 20, 30 years ago, people used to teach, teacher-centric. Whatever I want to teach, I can teach, give whatever the question that I want, and finally, some examination, some marking, some. So that was the education 1.0. Education 2.0 has changed because of the internet-enabled learning. All of you know, in 1980s, first computer came, and later in 90s, we started getting the internet, and this open source available, things available, and this has changed, modified our learning in education. And in education 3.0, which is nothing but knowledge producing education. Okay, that was the scenario till 2015, 2018. And today, the expectation of the education 4.0 is innovation producing education. Innovation producing education is what we all have to do. So mere lecturing, memorization has now completely changed. And today, as all of you know, our Prime Minister at 11 o'clock is talking about new education policy. All of you must have gone through. If required, we can have a session on the new education policy where what is the changes that we can contemplate in the technical education. It's a very wonderful thing, flexible, exit. Just to give one example at this point, suppose some student who joins for BTech, at the end of the first year, if he acquires some, we can give him a certificate. At the end of 3rd year, we can give a diploma. At the end of 4th year, he will get a BTech. Someone who is not for various reasons could not complete, we should not go away without certificate or degree. So the new education policy, which is proposed in India, has got these multiple entry, multiple exit. If he wants to take off 1 year, he can go. All these things are there in the Western country. We also can slowly adopt. Next one, please. In line with the education, industry also has changed from industry 1.0, industry 2.0, industry 3.0, and industry 4.0. What is industry 1.0? All of you know, in the 19th century, most of the mechanical systems were not moving, very stationary. But later in the 20th century, we started beginning this, engine, coal engine, your railway engine. So this is the second generation of the Industry 2.0. In beginning of the 20th century, Industry 3.0 came into being, autonomous production. That means, because of the invention of the electronics and IoT, the internet, so many things we started automating. Today, we go to airline, we go to railway, you go to do, all bookings are done. Today, you can sit at home and book your ticket. It was not so about 20 years ago. So things have changed because of the electronics and then information technology. And now the Industry 4.0 today, industrial revolution, that is, which is cyber physical system, IoTs. I will talk to you about these at the end of my talk for 10 minutes, so that we have to adapt ourselves to this industry. You must have artificial intelligence, data science, and blockchain, which I will talk to you for in some detail at the end of my talk. Can I go to the next one, please? So now, just 1 minute I will spend, which all of you know, that AICTE, but in the new education policy, AICTE, UGC, all will be merged, and we are going to have Higher Council for Education, our Higher Education Council of India. So they are the one which they are going to take care. So therefore, the scenario will go to change. Somebody will. But as all of you know, induction program is important. Revision of curriculum is important. And I would say induction program is not for just student. Induction program is required for faculty also. Faculties are to have an induction program. Things are changing so much these days. We have to have a training to faculty through SWAYAM. I understand that most of our faculties are taking domain knowledge from the SWAYAM platform, and mandatory internship for student, industry readiness, which is very important. Otherwise, the placement employability will suffer, and the examination reforms are extremely important in the COVID. I'm sure that we don't know whether next 2-3 months student would come to our college. So scenario will change, and promoting innovation and startup. That I think is extremely small way, 2-3 startup or innovation we should have in our institution, and mandatory accreditation. All these things should lead to, because new education policy talks about by 2035, all our engineering education should be autonomous. Each college should have its own governing body, its own academic council, its own board of studies, dynamic change of, So what we have today, out of 40,000 colleges in the country, roughly 1,500 colleges are autonomous. But in the next 15 years, India is aiming to make every institution autonomous, if possible, some of them, majority of them as a university. If you go to America, if there are 3,000, 4,000 colleges, all of them are universities, degree giving, they don't have a concept of affiliation. Now, we have interesting affiliation in Rajasthan. First year, second year student will get affiliated to the BTU. Third year, fourth year students are affiliated to RTU. All these concepts will go away. We have GCG, Government Women's Engineering College itself can become an autonomous, and then you have your own bodies. That is the way we are moving forward. Can I have the next one? Yeah, for all these things, a good start is required. So, in an Olympic, if you want to win 100 meters, even if you lose 0.1 second, you won't get the medal. So a good start, definitely, that is how to plan to teach a course, and how to get off with a good start is what is important. Next one. I am not getting into the very much details of the outcome-based education today, because that itself is a subject we can talk later, but I will take some philosophical view today. So all of you know Sir C.V. Raman. What he said those days, this is what he said long ago. Students of today are being taught by teachers of yesterday, with curriculum which is of day before yesterday. I'm sure all of you get this message. Students should be abreast, faculty should be abreast, curriculum should be dynamically changing. Unless we change our curriculum, we will not be able to achieve much in this education system, which our Sir C.V. Raman, first Nobel laureate of physics, Nobel laureate in Asia in 1930, he made this statement long, 40, 50, 60 years ago. Next. Next slide. learning, is people say learning takes place by seeing we learn, by hearing we learn, by smelling we learn, by touching we learn, by taste we learn. So much of percentages are given. But what is important is what we learn, we should retain. So people say, the general research says 10% we retain by reading some book, some notes, something. 20% by hearing, that is where teachers are required. 30% by seeing the things. 50% by see and hear, and finally you can see the retention will happen only when you read, hear, see, do something. Everything has to be combination of this will make student to retain, faculty to retain, and whatever we learn, it retains only by all this. So with this introduction, let me just spend 5-10 minutes about outcome-based education. Next one. So as all of you know, outcome-based education expects what an engineer should be. An engineer should just not for learning. There are 8 semesters, 40 courses. I got 75%. I got distinction. That is not the end of the. So the engineer should do practice. Like a medical engineering or professional degree, they should be practicing. That is the component that we have to keep on bringing in our curriculum. While delivery, if you look at the curriculum of the good institution in the world, the theory and practical is almost, practice is 60%, theory is 40%. But in our curriculum, our theories are more and practical is very, very less. And engineers is for living. Engineers, after that, they should get a good job and then have a self-esteem. And engineers for society. Saram Visheshwaraya, he is just not BTech or MTech. He has done so much to our Karnataka state, and all of you know, as a civil engineer, he is a great inspiration to all of us. So therefore, we expect the engineers who graduate should have all these qualities. Next slide. So the outcome-based education, every institution should have vision. Why institution? The country should have. India has a vision and mission. ISRO has a vision and mission. NASA.
Sir.
Sir, you are not audible. Sri Prakash sir, you are not audible.
सभी अपना एक बार वीडियो बंद कर दें, बैंडविड्थ मिल जाएगी।
Sorry for a small interruption. His internet is broken, so he's fixing it in like 30 seconds. So stay tuned.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. It's audible.
Yeah, Tariq.
Yes, sir. Audible.
It's called the EET break. Those who are at home must have had some tea sip, sipping the tea. EET break. So,
Yes, sir.
okay. So I'm sure that the outcome is important, that they call it as a program outcome, and each program should have specific outcome. And these are all, again, not very specific. So therefore, we go to the course level, that we call it as a course outcome. So I will not get into the details. So this, I think all of you have this in frame of mind in the outcome-based education. Next one, please. So next. Yeah. And
Yes, sir.
this picture is in your mind. All of you know the graduates whom you graduate from our institution should have these 12 attributes. We call it as a program outcome in Indian scenario, which is called graduate attribute. The red ones are extremely important. They are very, very important. Engineering knowledge, problem analysis, design and development, and investigation of complex problem, and modern tools. Heavily, most of the curriculum will loaded with these. And the ABET, American Board for Accreditation Body, ABET in USA, like our NBA, they say another 7 also are very important for engineer. What are they? Engineer and society, environment and sustainability, ethics, individual and teamwork, communication, project management, lifelong learning. So the thing that the graduates, lifelong learning is not just they learn in 4 years, but they have to be prepared for the lifelong learning in their career through these. So therefore, the objective of the outcome education is to ensure that the student or a learner will acquire these graduate attributes. Next one, please. So therefore, the learning, if you want to enhance, a triangular shows there are three things that we need to take care. If you see the left side of the corner, instructional strategy. Every day when you go to class, you must know what you are teaching, why you are teaching, and what is the outcome of that. Is our learners are learning? Just that strategy each teacher should have. And the one mere outcome, the learning, it doesn't end with this teaching. It will have a assessment. Without assessment, no learning is good. So therefore, assessment is important. Therefore, I'm going to speak some 5-10 minutes on these strategies and also assessment tools and also the learning outcome. Finally, the outcome. So if a learning outcome, if it has to come, our strategy of teaching, instructional class, and the assessment are extremely important. Next slide, please. So the same triangle, if I just want to describe differently. Next one. Yeah. So what is learning? Simply learning. No. Yeah. What is the outcome first? Okay. Before, which one is first? Learning or outcome? Learning.
Learning is
yeah. Learning is acquiring new knowledge, behavior, skill, values, and understanding. Any of these things will form the learning. So then what is good learning? Good learning takes place when learners are clear about what they should be able to do at the end of each unit learning. This is what I was saying. Each class that you take in a course should have some purpose, and your outcome, that is your core outcome or program outcome, and when you reach your program educational objective, assessment is aligned with this. So therefore, learning, there are 3 factors. One is assessment is extremely important, which we will talk about it, and instructional activities. So alignment of instructional activity, assessment will lead to outcome. This is what I showed in the previous triangle. Next one. So the outcome, what is outcome? Outcome is what learner will be able to perform or do as a result of some experience, whether by practical, internship, every curricula, co-curricula, extracurricular, every aspect all around. Today in the new educational policy, we talk about just not mere marks should give them the degree. Okay, so we will see that later. In the context of formal education, outcome is what students should be able to do at the end of the program, at the end of the course, at the end of each class. That's why we have different assessment tools. So if you want to learn something, then there should be an outcome. So how the learning takes place, as all of you know, there's a great man called Benjamin Bloom. He, in 1955, with his 20-30 years of research, he gave, there are 3 domains in which things can be learned. Those domains are called cognitive domain, affective domain, and psychomotor. So most of the engineering program comes under cognitive. So I'll spend some 3, 4, 5 minutes on what this cognitive domain is and how do we learn things through this cognitive domain. Next slide. So as all of you know, this is a wonderful picture that all of you know in your realm. So according to Bloom, the learning takes place in cognitive domain in 6 levels. The first level is called remember, second is understand, third is apply, fourth is analyze, fifth is evaluate, sixth is create. Okay, what it means, the concept that you teach in engineering is all remember. First law of thermodynamics, there is no shortcut. People have to remember. It is not enough if you remember, you have to next explain and the concept. That is this second level of Bloom, which we call as understanding level. And having remembered and understand in engineering, we have to apply. That means for the new situation, we have to apply these things. That is what engineering is all about. And after remember, understand, and apply, we have to analyze. That means you have to take the some ideas and then construct and then analyze, take a data and analyze. This is all about engineering. And finally, after remember, understand, apply, and analyze, you have to evaluate. That means justify the stand or decision that you take of whatever the design that you do. And finally, engineering is all about creativity. So the creativity is producing some new knowledge, new or original work. So these things, every class that you teach, you cannot do creative. The project that you give, possibly we can achieve creativity. So the internship that they do, they can get creative activity. So therefore, these components, I want to tell you one thing, wherever I go, hundreds of accreditation I have done across the country, people think that there are 6 units of syllabus. Unit 1, Bloom level 1, Unit 2, Bloom level 2, Unit 3, Bloom level 3, Unit 4, Bloom level 4, Unit 5, Bloom. No. First year when you are teaching, higher Bloom level will not come. So the next 2 slides I will clearly explain to you that a course can have the Bloom level 3, Bloom level 4. This you can skip and go to the next one. Next one you can. Next. I'll come back to that. Okay, learning. When I say learner is engaged, anything that we teach in engineering, I must tell where the application is. If the real world problem, I must teach wherever, whatever possible, whatever the device, whatever the concept, whatever the algorithm, whatever we teach, whatever the simulation we do, I must tell where the application is. That is first thing. Second one is this learning should lead to should make existing knowledge is active. Knowledge should give you foundation for the new knowledge. So anything that we teach should enlighten the student, and then they should think for for a new knowledge. And this new knowledge is demonstrated to the learner. This is where your practical exam, practicals, and so many other activities that we do. A new knowledge that we tell in the theory should get implemented at various stages in the practical domain. And new knowledge is applied. So new knowledge, existing knowledge should give new knowledge. New knowledge should be demonstrated through experiment, and that should be applied and by a learner. So therefore, a new knowledge is integration of all these things. You have to take a word, any problem. In Ajmer, you have, in our country, we have problem on health, water, electricity, power, anything you name. So I must do some project which leads to some possible solution. We call it as ASTRA, application of science and technology to rural area. That is what our Dr. Kalam did. He wanted India a project called Pura, providing urban facility to rural area. Then nobody will go to the cities. No one will go to Jaipur. People will be in their villages and then do work. So that is where all our engineers should work for. That is the new education policy is also going to envisage that. Next one. Can I have the next slide, please? So therefore, what are the pose a problem for emerging relevance. So a student, when you're teaching in third year, fourth year, take some case studies, take some problem, and then whatever they have learned in first year, second year. So this learning should not go waste. So this learning is new knowledge to demonstration, demonstration to the application. So therefore, a structured learning, primary concept to adopt, and and I mean, I will share this slide because of the time, because I want to touch upon so many other things. Then they're all easily understandable, these statements. Can I go to the next one? Basically, in the learning, what happens is, next. So some strategies every one of you should have. I give you some list, but this is not exhaustive. One is, our learning today is become problem-based learning and project-based learning. That is how we should keep in mind while teaching. Second one is hands-on learning. We have to give some problems for them to choose, assignments. Assignment is not just what is there in the book, right, and then give mark. So you have to create some good assignments. Experiential learning. I must have taught some subject for 5 years, 10 years. Every year that I am learning, that should be passed on to the student. Internship experience. Internship is one which is going to play a major role in years to come. Students should do internship. Faculty also, I would think that every year, every faculty should go to industry for a week or 10 days and learn something, give some project, continue the internship and then project-based learning. And industry man should come and teach in our institution, give some lectures, and also flip classroom. Everything should not be taught in the class. Student can learn something, they can go home, they can learn in library or learn at home. Now today, the tools are there, the resources are there, or so much of informations are there. So flip class, why they call it, when they go out of the class on Saturday, Sunday, evening, they have to, this is called blended learning. And this is possible because of the MOOCs, Swayam platforms, Coursera, and anything, Academy, Khan Academy, and many edX. Lot of learning resources are there available, and in the COVID, they are all giving free also. Many of the people are offering for students and faculty free courses. Next one. And if I continue this, there are some more co-curricular experiences also should be. That is very important. Tech fest that you do, you should learn something. How to become a leader, how to organize, how to do, how to present, how to all those things. And once you learn, the next stage of strategy should be assessment. See, in the assessment, there are basically two types. One is called formative assessment. Another is called summative assessment. So formative assessment is nothing but your test 1, test 2, midterm exam, quiz 1, quiz 2, and assignment 1, assignment 2. They are all done continuous evaluation. They are called formative assessment. A good institution should have formative assessment more weightage. Unfortunately, we are still affiliated to BTU and RTU. Therefore, I don't know whether the ratio is 20/80 for our institution. What is the formative assessment percentage? 20 or 30? Dr. Saurabh? 20% is there for your internal assessment or 30?
40%. 40%. In laboratories, we have 40%, and in theories, we have 20%.
20 and 80, yeah? That is definitely not a good system. If you go to autonomous colleges, they are 50-50. They see 3 hours exam decides the student fate for 80% marks, and the whole 4 semester they learn for 20. So that is where the autonomy should come. Then you should have your own curriculum design and things. So formative also, in fact, now today in Northern America and Canada, they want formative 90 or 100%. They want to, final exam of 3 hours should not be decided. That is, if for some reason he is not good in 3 hours, we say is bad. That is not a good thing. And therefore, and also another strategy we can adopt in the learning is active and cooperative learning. What it means is peer. Peers means students themselves you have to group. A good student, a fast learner, slow learner, medium learner, make them a group, give some problem, they will learn. This is called peer learning. IIT Bombay uses this. It is extremely, so a slow learner, we call it as a weak student. Please don't call them as weak student. Slow learner should be attached with the fast learner, they will learn. This is called think, pair, and share. A group of these three will think about it, pair, you can pair them like this. Project also, you should not give 3 students whomever they like. You should give student, one is good, one is medium, and one is, like that you should do, and they will share their idea. Thereby, even a student who is not so good will learn something from engineering. Next one. These are some of the strategies that we all have to adopt. So I will not get into detail. All of you know about it. I'll spend a minute. You know, for each course, you have to write the course outcome. And we have learned just few minutes ago, how do we write the course outcome? By using Bloom taxonomy. Now, I just want to give typical course outcome of a data structure of the computer science thing. So, one of the faculty writes CO1, comprehend different operations on various data structure. Second one, apply the linear data structure. Third, analyze the usage of basic data structure. Fourth, conduct the experiment. Fifth one, make effective and oral communication. Fifth one, design. Now all of you know, comprehend is nothing but understand. So the CO1 is in the second level of Bloom taxonomy. So this course will cover Bloom taxonomy level 2, Bloom taxonomy level 3 apply, Bloom taxonomy level 4 analyze, Bloom taxonomy communication. You must have seen some communication outcome, program outcome. So this faculty also will make effective oral communication on the advanced topic of the data structure. This is how a teacher should write the outcome. And lastly, at this he also makes design solution for application of. So this example can be explained for civil, mechanical, electrical. So what I am trying to say is a given course need not have all the 6, can have only few. But this particular one which the faculty has written, 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 Bloom level, yes, and he achieves also up, the communication, oral communication also he make his group of students to learn. Next one. So therefore, the faculty, when they are teaching each course, assessment, this is all about learning. That means what is I must know what is the curriculum, how do I design, how do I teach every day. That is the strategy which I explained. Now, the strategy for assessment. Assessment is what is a measure of performance of a student. And we use another term called evaluation. People say both are same. No, it is not so. Evaluation is an interpretation of the assessment. What it means is evaluation is 100 marks you evaluate, 10 marks for short test, second test 10 marks, third midterm 20 marks, and the final exam 50 marks. All put together, you evaluate the student, out of 100 you get, therefore you get this grade, you get this class. So therefore, assessment is a tool, evaluation is using all these tools, you will evaluate the student. So therefore, this assessment tool should drive the student for learning. If there is no incentive for the student, then he will not learn. Assessment tools to be informed to the student well ahead of the semester, and teacher should go through their assessment, content, instruction methods, skill development, anything that you want to embed in the learning, you should share with the student in the beginning of the semester. Next one. So I will not get into the detail. Quality of the assessment is very important. That means you have to validate what you have assessed is correct, and you have to be reliable. Just to give an example, summative exam, if you do, final examination will validate and also it's a reliable. What it means is question paper that you said is important for the assessment. I just give an example. Suppose I give a very simple Bloom level 1. Remember. Now the question that I will set, not in engineering, maybe what is the capital of Rajasthan? 1 mark. Very easy question. Everybody says Jaipur, get 1 mark. Now a teacher wants to same Bloom level, he wants to complicate the question. Now he will give a question, what are the capitals of 30 states of India? So Bloom level is remembering only, but now earlier he remembered only capital of Rajasthan, Jaipur. Now he has to remember 30 states, Delhi, Karnataka, Bangalore, Tamil Nadu, Chennai, like this. So you have to make your question paper complex. That is called difficulty level. Now you have to make it more difficult. So as I told, last line if you read, higher semester you can have 60% for apply and higher Bloom level, and lower, a course of fourth year doesn't mean you should have only the higher. You can have percentage, which I will explain to you in the next 2-3 slides, how to distribute this assessment tool across the course. Next one. So therefore, a good institutions will always create a question bank, because every year, same question, students will come to know, oh, these questions are repeated. If I prepare this, I will score. If you go to GRE, TOEFL, GATE, even if they read 5 years question paper, 10-year question paper, the question that he gets this year will be different. That is the beauty of GRE exam. So to prepare for quiz assignment test, I request all the faculty members, the courses that you teach, create a question bank, and then we can use software, because henceforth you may have to do the test, all that online. Online test, multiple choice question, same question if you give, everybody answers. Idea of a question paper is, a good teacher is one, he gives a question paper where 50% of the student answers that question paper. What it means, out of 60 students, 30 students will get 50, another 10 students will get 60 marks, another 10 students will get, this is the distribution you should have. The question paper where everybody fails is not a good question paper. A question where everybody gets full marks is also not a good question paper. So therefore, quality of the question that we set to find out the student learning is extremely important. Next one. Because if you go to now, I'm going to tell you in the next. So technologies, technologies are important now, are coming today for assessment. And you cannot conduct exam in your college, how do we do? So therefore, there are technologies. I will talk about this little later. But you have to design some question paper of MCQ, multiple choice question. I would say multiple selection question. What they do in GRE is a question they give for which 2 answers are right out of 4. 4 answers are right. No answer is right. 1 answer is right. So that is the complexity you bring in, like capital of Rajasthan, capital of India, 30 states. So that is called MSQ. So I must give a question where multi. So this we have to mature. Once you do that, that is why GRE today is so, all over the globe, they conduct online exam and still evaluate the student and then say who is good, who is bad. So question bank is important, as I mentioned. Next one, technology I will talk about in the next few slides. Yeah. Before that, let me say, how do we plan our continuous evaluation? This is an example for 50 marks. Anyway, in your university, it is 2080. This example you can. Now, as a teacher, I write 6 CO. You can see on the first column. And first row, you can see the assessment tool. What is the Bloom level? Assessment tools are test 1, test 2, test question, quiz 1, quiz 2. And A1 is for assignment 1, A2 for assignment. So in the course, I have written 6. As you can see, CO1, understanding. UN means understanding Bloom level. Second CO is also understanding. Third CO is apply. Fourth CO is apply. Fifth is apply. Sixth is apply. So some course which I have told data structure, a teacher wants 2 COs on the understanding level, 4 COs on the application. So how he distributes the marks is like this. First test, beginning, CO1, CO2, 5 marks for understanding, and another CO2 understanding, and CO3 another marks for application. So first test that he conducts, he evaluates for 15 marks. Second test, he evaluates for CO4, a question will be on the application, 7 and 8 marks, this 15 he divides. This 7 marks, he gives one question for understanding level 2 marks, another question for application 5 marks. So 7 marks. In the another on CO5, he will have 8 marks, 2 marks for understanding level and application. So, and in quiz 1, you will conduct one quiz in the beginning for 5 marks, Bloom level. So in the quiz, he give 3 plus 2, 5 marks. Second quiz he conducts at the end. Again, on remembering, quiz cannot be on the higher level of Bloom, another 5 marks. One assignment he gives somewhere in the middle for 5 marks, 1 mark, 3 marks, 1 mark, remembering, understanding, and remembering. And lastly, another assignment he gives at the end on CO6 application completely for 5 marks. So this gives you all of you just a template where if a 50 marks questions are there for the test, how do I divide into different tools and different. This is how I am sure that all of you must be following. This I just wanted to emphasize. This how we find out the learner, whether they are learning in the remembering level, understanding level, application level, and so on. Next one. Final examination also, for 100 marks, if you can set like this. This is again the same course, understand, apply. What you do in the item A, I will divide the marks 100 into different. First one you can see 10 marks, second is 10 marks, third one is 20, the fourth one is 14, 20. Like that, 100 marks I divide for various things and I'll set the question paper. Since unfortunately we are affiliated college, in the final question paper, we may not be able to do this because person who teaches will not be set the question paper. Unfortunately, the problem is somebody teaches, somebody sets the question paper, somebody evaluates, somebody gets the grade. That is very unfortunate, but now I think the new education policy, a person who teaches should set the question, evaluate, and that is how a good education policy should come. Next one. Yeah. See, another word, assessment, we use it called rubrics. For theory, your rubric is a method of evaluation. It's an important assessment tool. So these rubrics you cannot write for everything: theory, practical, seminar, internship, and project. I just give an example for project how to do. You just go to the next one. I'll give an example. With an example, I will illustrate what this rubrics is. Suppose I have a project, I want to evaluate for 50 marks. So I will put 10 futures. Each future, this example I am giving fee, not necessarily 5 each into 10 equal to 50, you can decide. And these each marks, our rubric says, 100 marks is there for project, 50 for internal, 50 for external, 50 I divide this. That is not rubric. Rubric is, I will show you in the next slide, the 5 marks that I allot for future one. When do I give 5 marks to my student? When do I give 4? When do I give 3? When do I give 2? When do I give 1? This is what we call. What you write down possibly is a scheme of evaluation, but rubrics is finer details. So therefore, I will say this future, this student is excellent, I will give 5. He is very good 4, a good 3, fair 2, and poor 1. So these normally the rubrics are used for practical, seminar, projects, etc. So in the next slide will illustrate all of you how to do this. Suppose I take a project. In the project, there will be problem definition, literature survey, methodology, design, testing, presentation, technical writing, teamwork, ethical, environment. If you don't have environmental project, that marks you can give to something else. So this is an example. So this 10, I have distributed first 5 marks, 10 marks, 8 marks, etc. So the 15 marks I divided. And for each of these, I write a rubrics. Rubrics 1, rubrics 2, rubric 10. Now, what that rubric 1 is, next slide will illustrate you. Will clearly tell you how to give these 5 marks. So take a same example of data structure. Now, I have 5 future. In this approach to the problem is 1 future. Second one is how the correctness of the algorithm that the student developed. The third one is execution and result. And fourth one is report. I just took 4, it can be 10. Now, first one, let us say approach to the problem survey. I kept 5 marks. These 5 marks, student should know when he gets 5. When is he going to get the 5? Most appropriate data structure with accurate and optimized logic, if he writes and executes, is come out with that, you give 5 marks. If he implements the right data structure with correct logic, but it is not optimized, he is very good, therefore give 4 marks. Next one, the algorithm that he writes is working, the structure is correct, but it is not accurate and it is not, you give 3 marks. And everything is all right. So like this you can divide. As a teacher, group of teachers who give project should write like this. Second one you take, suppose the algorithm you develop, correct, if all cases, if this program works, give 5 out of 5. This algorithm works for 75% of the data that I give 4 marks. 50% if it works. So if it works for 50%, you could not give 0, you have to give 2. So like this is what I have done. Report also, if format is correct, if presentation is correct, give 5 out of 5. Then is English there are you find out and write down. So what I am trying to say is rubrics is one which how you evaluate the student for the marks. You have to tell the student and evaluate. Then student will be get motivated. Yeah, I do it. They will come and argue, sir, it is appropriate, it is optimized, working, give me, why you are giving 3, give me 5. This is the best way. So therefore, rubric should be known to teacher, rubric should be known to the student. Then student also, oh, yeah, the teacher will give 5 to everybody, even if it doesn't work, you will give 5, that should not go. So therefore, just to sum up, you have remembering, understanding, applying, analyzing, evaluate and creating. Assessment tool also varies. Simple, true, false, matching, quiz, etc. can remember. If you go to understanding, you can use simulation and tutorials. And if you go to apply, you can short answer questions, simulation games, case studies, and analyze, evaluate, and create presentation of a paper, virtual lab, case studies. So at different level, student can be evaluated. So this is what we all have to learn in the outcome-based education. So outcome-based education is not just writing the outcome, but you have to assessment tools should be good. You have to evaluate. You have to attain. What do you mean by attainment? I wrote all this. I delivered my class. After that, I evaluated. Do you think all students will pass? All students will get 100 out of 100? No. So you have to put a bar. So 60% of the students, if they pass, I will call it as this. So attainment can be 60%, 70%. Suppose on the 10 scale, if you 70% of the student pass, you can say 70% is the attainment. Next year, try to improve and then get an attainment of 75. Next one. So this is what they are going to ask you when the accreditation committee comes. That is why I just. So therefore, a small dot which is not invisible is called vision. You don't see. After that, mission, POs, POC. So all that I have explained is what. So a small, very narrowest vision, which if you want to achieve, you have to go through this code. Next one. You have to get into this code, then only you will be able to deliver. Next one. So what Einstein always says is, I never teach my student anything, but I only teach and create the environment. We have to create an ambient self-study in our institution. That is important. Next one. Another 5-10 minutes is okay, Professor Jitendra? Dr. Saurabh?
Yes, sir.
Another 10 minutes can I take?
Yes, sir, definitely. No problem, sir.
No, very good. 61 people in the beginning, 61 people even now. Very quite stable. Because in mechanical engineering, there is a flow. Flow, there are 3 types. One is laminar flow. Second one is called boundary. Third one is called turbulence. Okay, so all the teachers of my institution, I'm very happy they are in the laminar flow.
Yes,
61 remained. One has logged in now. It has become 62. I'm very happy. So a teacher, can be classified into different groups. Mediocre teacher just tells. He goes, reads, vomit in the class. That's all. A good teacher explains. A perfect teacher demonstrates. A gifted teacher inspires. A modern teacher facilitates. I want all my teachers in my institution should become last 2. Inspiring teachers and facilitating teachers. Okay. Other 3, you are already there. I want this. Of course, many of you are all doing all these 5. I'm sure younger faculty also should become these last 2. Next one. So a teacher in the olden days, their students are monkey, elephant, penguin, and so on. And a teacher cannot give different exam for different students. Whether it's a weak student, whether it is a very fast learner, you have to give the same question paper. So the question that the teacher is giving is, all of you go and climb the tree, I'll give you full marks. The elephant says, I cannot climb. The elephant will lose the marks. So therefore, the moral of the story is, question paper that we do is very, very important. Next one. Okay, so there is going to be a paradigm shift. Coursework, what we call written exam will all go away in future. It is a coursework. You have to you have to do continuous evaluation. To tutor assessment will go to student-led assessment. The assessment also based on the quality of the student and then complexity. Implicit criteria will become explicit. Competition become collaborations. Products become process. Objectives will become outcome. Content becomes competencies. Course assessment becomes modular assessments. IIT Hyderabad now 40 hours of teaching, they have made 4 modules. Module 1, Module 2, Module 3. Some of you can go to IIT Hyderabad website and see how beautifully they are designing the curriculum. Course, advanced level course are assessed prior learning. Now student in America, teachers puts everything before go to class. So now in the next 4 months when you are teaching online, I think some of you have started, you have to put the content. Then you discuss that content in the online. You cannot be teaching farther. So the teaching is going to change now. In the next pandemic, post-COVID, it is going to change. Next one. You skip 3, 4 because I want to spend little time on the other. These are all very, very simple. All of you can understand. Next. This is adaptable in your class. Okay. So therefore, education finally should have 4 components. One is knowledge, know-how, wisdom, and character. So knowledge means understand all the basic principles of engineering. The know-how to do things rightly. What is right? Engineer, we should know. Wisdom to set the priorities of work. Every one of us should have priority. What should be done first, what should be done second, which is important in teaching, in assessment, everything. And character to make trustworthy and responsible member of the society. The graduate who goes out from our institution, we should have good character, they should have wisdom, they should have know-how, and they should have knowledge. Now today, just knowledge alone will not take anywhere else. You have to make sure learners to learn all these things. Next one. Skip this, next 3 slides. All of you can read whatever I spoke, education, aligning the industry. 1 minute. Now just give an example. Now future is going to be critical thinking, problem solving, reasoning, creativity, imagination, innovation, entrepreneur. I think it's very self-explanatory. So we have to develop our assessment methodologies. So therefore, diagnostic test, formative, summative, confirmative, collaborative. There are many ways by which we can do. Yeah, we can skip 2, 3. Flip classroom, everything. What I spoke, these 4 slides will give you all that. Next one. Yeah. So the future of education, man-machine mode. Artificial intelligence. Today, telemedicine. Doctor, the robots are making surgery. So, machine. We have to make machine to do what man does. That is going to be. So, digital technology, and which I'll spend a minute later, and technology fueled. The future education is expected you to do digital and blueprint, lifelong learning, and better role of a society. How do we do that? I'll show you in the next few slides. So the next 9 trends in future is diverse time and place. This is what we are doing today. All the 61 of us are at different places. This is what diverse time, diverse place. Diverse time is somebody can give a talk from USA. His time may be morning, ours is evening. Diverse time, diverse place. Personalized learning. We have to make student to learn. Each student, you have to capsule. Like a doctor who gives medicine for different patients. Free choice. That is going to come in the new education. Physics, chemistry, he doesn't want mathematics. He can also have liberal heart, some economics. So that is going to be in the new education policy. Science, arts, liberal art, social science combinations are possible. That's free choice to the student. Project based, as we understood, is going to be the order. Field experience, internship, data interpretation is very important. Whichever the area of engineering is, exams will change completely. All of you know, December exam, you may have to do differently. Now we are thinking how to get the student to the, exams going to be online. We all have to think in that, and student ownership is important. Mentoring will become more important. What they are doing now in mentoring is 15 students, you have to talk to them every 3 days and a week now. Not. Those days they were coming to class and then you are interacting. Now they are not with you. So you have to talk to the student wherever they are. Please tell them, give them confidence. Don't worry, everything will be all right. You come back, you read this, you do this. Teacher job mentoring is going to be very, very important role in the next 2-3 months. Next one. This all of you can understand. Whatever I spoke is there in these blocks. This is going to be the network word leading to the new model of science and education. Next one. I will go to, as all of you know, this is Atal is there where you can learn. Arpit is there. I'm sure that most of you must be using this platform. NEET, National Education Alliance for Technical Education. Most of the industries, IBM, HP, they have all come forward to develop the virtual lab and give it to the college. So if you go to the ACT site, NEAT, all the details will be there. So all of you are familiar. Smart India Hackathon, just few days ago it happened. Anyone has participated in the Smart India Hackathon from our institution?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Has anyone, Dr. Saurabh?
8 groups.
Any of our students participated in Smart India Hackathon?
Yes, sir. 8 groups participated.
Yes, that's very important. Margadarshan and Margadarshak, our institution may have to, mentor some other institution, and NAD, depository, all the degrees of the whole university will be there. Next one, technology, I'll spend few minutes because that is important. Now, virtual lab, all of you must be, I don't know if you are not, please go to www.vlab.co.in. All IITs, College of Engineering, Pune, and many good institutions in the country, they have developed this VLab, simulation based, except few core, everything is available in that. So please use the VLab for next 2 months to conduct the lab of simulation, computation, some elementary exam thing. So that is where you have to adapt your curriculum. Though RTU, BTU says this is a curriculum, delivery of the curriculum next 4 months is going to change. First 1 month you may have to teach online things which are not experiments. How do you do online with virtual? You have to adapt. Then Google Classroom. I don't know which platform you are using, Moodle or Google Classroom, or Turnitin, how to teach, how to evaluate, all these things. Which platform our institution is using for for classroom?
Google Classroom. We are using
Google Classroom?
Yes, sir, Google Classroom.
Very good. All of you please use that Google Classroom. Very good. And also assessment also can be done through that. All of you know it and you should learn. And you have a software for plagiarism, Turnitin or some other similarity?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir,
Yes,
we
sir,
have.
we have it.
Very good.
We have it.
Very good. So these are all going to be, so the tool based now, all these things were there. Now we have to make use of them. Next slide, please. Yeah. Okay, so the skills, to be acquired in 2028, complex problem solving. That is what we have to make our student to do that. Critical thinking, I told, creative, I told, people management, that is personality development, coordinating, and also negotiation. We should make our student to negotiate, give some where they should, most of the BTech engineers also will go to MBA. So you must make them, how to cognitive flexibility. This is what I am telling, 10th one, cognitive flexibility is, Bloom said in cognitive level we learn, we have to now change the flexibility of what to teach. Now, if you cannot do experiment for next 2 months, can we do in the next semester? That is what the flexibility you have to bring in with the, of course, the university also should support you. University should also help you. All of you should help the university in achieving these 10 skills in days to come. Next one. So technology is, all of you know, 1 minute on this introduction. First equation, IT plus IT equal IT is not mathematically correct, but what I meant, IT plus IT equal to IT is information technology yesterday plus information technology today equal to information technology tomorrow. That is how the things are moving last 5-10 years. Information technology to biotechnology to geotechnology and so on. And today's research is tomorrow's technology. So therefore, agriculture or whatever you think, you need technology. Next slide, I'm going to list important, all of you know these 9. I'm just putting 9, but there are many more. But this, most of you must adopt. Whether it's a mechanical engineer, civil engineer, electrical engineer, computer science engineering, electronics engineer, Now we have to come together. Artificial intelligence, Internet of Things, robotic, cyber security, data science, quantum computing, 3D printing, additive manufacturing they call, blockchain, and augmented reality, virtual reality. The virtual labs are created in the world using this augmented reality, virtual reality. You can do those things. So whatever the small, I expect each faculty one experiment to be created. See, what we do is in future we create our own virtual lab. I'm sure that we must have created a studio in the TechCube grant. If it is not, we should create a studio where I want to give my lecture. My lecture should be used by other BTU colleges. I taught for 10 years. There should be a mechanism to create, like Swayam, our GWEC lecture series. Lab, good student, you bring them, ask them to conduct the experiment, record it, and share with all other students. This is what all possible by using these technologies. So I must, in the next 2-3 years, we should create our own experiments, we should create our own lecture series, we have to create our own platform for evaluation, and so on. Next one. So these are the future, as I said, artificial intelligence, blockchain, genetic, 3D printing, augmented, autonomous, hyperloop, smart cities. All engineers will get into any one of these. So we must make sure the engineer that we are creating, civil, mechanical, electrical, will get into one of these. Some of these interdisciplinary things in project based. We should start giving projects from, it's a good idea to take 2 students from mechanical, 2 students from electronics and give them project. 1 guide from mechanical engineering, 1 guide from electronics. Computer science and electrical, civil and electronics, civil and computer. So I want the across the branches. Now this, we should have a thin silver line. Everybody should together come, 4 students. I have seen a project in one of the exhibition, 26 students from automobile, electronics, electrical, physics, mechanical. They all done a project, and they divided the project among themselves and they executed in 4 months and demonstrated. This kind of a thing, I think, even if you do one good project of that in health sector, in water, in education, wherever you think applicable in rural area, in energy sector, please do it. Next one. Yeah, future India is going to be made in India. Earlier we used to make something made in India stand. No, make in India. People from outside, they should invest money in Indian market, come here, and they should give job to us. That is called make in India. And now digital India. All of us have phones now. Everybody. Governance is happening and demand. And digital empowerment to the citizen is already done. Now, banks, nobody goes. Every transaction is done. So this is going to be the future of India. So next one, why we say future of India is, if you want go to the next one. If you go to if you want to academics, you go to America, people used to say. If you want to do adventurous, you go to Australia. If you want to do innovation, be in India. India is a great country. India can innovate. India can do many, many, many things. So if you want to achieve this quality, we need to work together, collaborate with each other, tolerate the differences, respect the diverse view, because none of us is as smart as all of the 61 people who have joined today. I am sure, that whatever the little inspiration that I wanted to tell you, that scenarios are changing in terms of teaching, assessment, and examination system, and many tools, many technologies have come. We have to adapt ourselves. I know that it is happening, but it can happen in a bigger scale. I want to come physically when all COVID goes, personally see the achievements of Government Women's Engineering College. Please, I'll spend a day, demonstrate whatever the new things that you have done, demonstrate whatever the new things our students have done. I'm sure that students, I also told Dr. Jitendra that I will interact with the students separately once, later maybe next week or next week. There I will talk to them, interact with them, motivate them. And I am told that some students have also must have joined through these platform. And I thank, before I close down, and my sincere thanks to the Dr. Jitendra Principal, Tech Coordinator Raki, Dr. Saurabh, and all my dear faculty members and students and staff who are witnessing this today. And I'm sure that today new education policy will start off. By next year, we can show in the map that our institution will appear in many great things that we achieve in the next 2-3 years in the Indian map. Thank you very much, and all the very best, and thank you for your patience here. Thank you. Yeah, now Professor Jitendra.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you very much, sir, for your inspirational talk. And the faculty definitely motivated in this COVID-19 situation by your talk, and you have given the different ideas how we can improve our teaching and learning in this, and keeping in the mind the NBA, further NBA requirement is there for upliftment of the institute in the globe. Thank you, sir. S.S. Sharma ji.
Yeah, sir.
Yeah, please continue.
I request my colleagues to discuss something about the sir if you have any doubt in this presentation. Dear colleagues, if you have any query, you can discuss with sir. Anybody? Anyone?
You can ask the question. You can ask the question regarding this talk.
Hello, sir. May I ask?
Yeah.
Dr. Sandeep, go ahead.
Sir. Good afternoon. It was very nice and informative session. Sir, I would like to hear from you about the lab sessions during this COVID situation and post-COVID too.
Good, very good question. Lab session, what you do is first 1 month you do only theory. The next, you see the situation. Some students which are available nearby with social distancing. I forgot to tell, I always say SMS. SMS has different definition today. S for sanitizer, M for mask. Sharma has a mask. Then another S for social distancing. So what you can do is bring 2-3 students in mechanical, civil, electrical, ask them to perform the experiment and then record it. You got it, Dr. Sandeep?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay. So getting 2-3 students is not difficult, right? They are nearby, who are accessible, who don't have any symptom, they are healthy. Bring them, ask them, give them some experiments, what you are planning to do in the next 1 month. Ask them to perform, record it with a good camera, and share that with the other students who cannot come to the college, let us say in the October. Okay? Like this, progressively, dynamically, flexibly, you have to adapt. And let us say November, if they cannot also, you plan it. So what you do is, August you see, for September if they don't come, what is my plan B? If October if they don't come, what is my plan C? Plan D, A, B, C, D. You should all of you debate with HOD in the department, the course. You have a coordinating committee, right? Because this is record it also, because when the accreditation committee, if you say we are conducting the lab like this, they appreciate, and your accreditation will be very easy. In this straight over situation, we taught like this, we did like this. Your student did not have internet, we made it, we sent them by courier, we sent them by, let us say, WhatsApp. We just spoke to them, mentor them. We did the experiment like this. Please record it in your course file. This particular semester, my request to all of you is, anything new, anything challenging, anything that you do in terms of teaching, in conducting lab, in seminar, in internship, in project evaluation, in online exam, please record it, each one of you, so that it will be a wonderful document for you when visiting NBA. No, don't do it for NBA committee, but that appreciate, and you'll get satisfied. Even with this COVID, we have delivered. Suppose something cannot be done in this semester, when they come back next January, what can be done? Now I think I more or less I gave an idea how to plan next 4 months labs in the absence if they don't come. Okay, some can be done. Some, yeah.
Sir, one more thing I want to add here. at the college level, from PPU is organizing a virtual lab training on the 10th.
Please,
On the
all of you
Mondays.
should attend. Yeah. See, Dr. Sandeep, I don't know which branch you are. vlab.co.in you have gone through?
Electronic.
Yes, sir. I am aware
Yeah,
about it.
you have seen, no?
have
Objectives
attended.
are written,
Yes.
what is required is
Yes.
written, simulation
Yes.
is done, analysis written. Almost, they are doing experiment. In
Yes.
your curriculum, if some experiment is not there in the V lab, at the 10th, there is going to be a training also, as Professor principals have said. You do it, come collectively. What I'm saying is create your experiment in our college and then record it. That will be wonderful. Okay?
Yes.
Sir, one more information I want to supply you, sir. Here,
Yes,
as per your strategy in your lecture, you have told us the same we have applied here, and recently we are only conducting the theory lectures. Between
Yeah.
9 to 1, we are conducting the theory lectures, and in the after lunch sessions, we are taking, if any students or any faculty wants to conduct extra lectures, the time is utilizing for that one.
You
And
do that for first month, second month, modify.
yes, sir.
Second month you have to change.
Just after this virtual training, we are introducing the lab session, sir. First day is yes, sir.
In the lab session, my suggestion is call 2 students who are accessible and conduct and also demonstrate. That's also
We
possible.
will meet, sir. We will meet that exercise also, sir.
Good.
Any further question? Any faculty member can ask?
Hello.
Yeah, Vijay.
Yeah, Dr. Vijay.
Yes, sir.
Vijay,
Good afternoon, sir. Good afternoon,
Good
sir.
afternoon. Yeah.
My question is, sir, that the new batch of this session, 2021, will resume from September. Okay.
1st September. Yeah.
Yeah, probably 1st September. And as per the AICT, we have to conduct the induction program in general.
No, there will be small changes. 3 weeks you may not be able to spend for induction this
Yeah,
time.
of course, we will not be able to for the
There
same.
are some modifications required.
Yeah,
And
definitely. My question is, the
Yeah.
general purpose of induction is to interact with the student physically.
Yes. You
But,
want to,
this
no, my
particular-
suggestion
Yes,
is
yeah.
don't, 1 minute. My suggestion is don't do 3 weeks induction continuously. Do it for 3-4 days. Then after a month you do another capsule. Over the semester you plan it. Because there is no point, they get bored sitting at their home without seeing college,
Yeah,
without seeing lab.
that is the only question I am asking to you.
Yeah.
How we have to interact them, how we have to make them enthusiastic, so they have to interact us.
I know.
Because right
I
now,
know.
what we are taking class on Google Classroom, we have to interact with the student, those who we have already seen it
Correct.
physically.
Correct. So you have to modify that flux, that induction 21 days also you modified in such a way, you talk to them in August some 2 days. I mean, students are yet to join. I mean, they have
Yes,
to be
sir.
admitted. Once they join, first month some 3 days, second month some 4 days. You capsule it, okay, differently.
Yes,
Motivating. I mean, they say that's a very, you have to find an innovative method. Dr. Vijay, you have asked the question and assignment is on you. You come out with an innovative way of doing the induction program from Government Women's Engineering College. Okay?
Yes. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Don't feel bad just because if you ask question, I will give assignment. Don't think like that. It's good. You will take the help of all the others, and then it's always good.
Definitely.
Anyone have more question?
If the question is not asked, it means 2 things according to C.V. Raman. One is whatever I delivered, everything is understood. Or nothing is understood. Logical 0, logical 1. But teacher always thinks that everything is understood. Don't worry.
If
We'll interact. When I come there, we'll interact. Don't worry.
Sharmaji, conclude, please.
okay. If there is no more question, then I give the formal vote of thanks on the behalf of the faculty members, staff, and students. I would like to take the privilege of forwarding my sincere gratitude towards the all people associated with this program. First, I would like to thank our today's eminent speaker and honorable chairman BOG Professor N.S. Shivaprakash sir for sparing his valuable time and insight us about the challenges in the good learning and assessment in post-COVID era by his word of wisdom. Sir has given his consent on a very short notice and guided us on the various field related to teaching, like the role of teacher for level of education and industry, outcome-based education system, teaching learning strategies, technologies for the assessment, future of education, and technology of future in higher education area. I am sure after today's enlightening session, we and our all students will definitely motivate for the academics in this pandemic period. Now, I would like to thank our principal sir, who have guided and encouraged us at every stage of this program. Any program cannot be successful without the input of the participants. So I thank our faculty, staffs, and students for their active participation in the session. In the end, I thank my colleagues of organizing committee and all the peoples associated with the program directly and indirectly. Thank you. Now I request